Hello everyone, welcome back to my farmhouse sewing studio. I'm Renee and today is February 2nd and I am going to finish up on the first video that I put out with my Valentine's projects. If you have seen my video of the postcard that I just put up, I am going to continue on to the other two projects that I didn't get to. So I did get my postcard finished up and it's all binded and it turned out really nice. This is a great idea. If you all would like to see that, check out the first video. It's called the Valentine postcard. But I'm going to get on and I want to show you the other projects that I had set up. So the second project that I'm going to show you is this pillow. This pillow is fabulous, fun, and easy to make, and you can make it in any size. No pattern required. So to get started on this pillow, I'm going to start off by showing you how to make the large heart. This is made out of charm squares, and the charm squares I actually picked up from Sheet Sew Creative Quilt Shop. It is one of my favorite quilt shops to go to, and Erin is a very good friend to me. And I went there recently when I was on a quilting retreat with some other girls, and I picked up this Valentine charm pack. So I didn't quite know what I was going to do with them, but I got playing around on my new design board, which I really love, that my husband made for me. And I took 4 red charms and I put them together, and then I followed around with some pink charms just at random. You can do whatever you want, whatever's pleasing to you. And next you're going to need some background squares. So I have these 2 5-inch background squares, and then I have 4 of these little 2.5 squares. And this is what's going to make our heart. The same way I showed you on the postcard, but for those of you that haven't seen it yet, you might want to check that out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these 2 background 5-inch squares, and I am going to fold them up into like a triangular shape like this. And I'm going to like kind of finger press them, so I make a finger press line. And what we're going to do is we're going to sew this to the bottom 5-inch square here, and we're going to sew it diagonally. So when I open this back up, I do have a little press line here, and I'm going to sew right on that press line. And then we're going to end up cutting off this back part, and then you'd be able to flip this part forward, and that will make the first corner of our heart. The second one I'm going to do the same way. I'm going to fold this and make a press line, and I'm going to put it up on the bottom of the red square here, so it's in the corner like that, and that's how it's going to look. But when I open it up, it's going to have a little press line, and I'm going to sew that. So you'll sew it the opposite way. You'll sew from corner to corner here, and then on the other one, I get that to stay, you'll sew from corner to corner here. So when you cut these back parts off, your white part will flip down, and hopefully this will stay so you can see it. And we'll fold this one down, and you can kind of see you're going to have the bottom of your heart. So if those will stay there, I will kind of show you the same thing with these 2.5-inch squares. I'm going to try to get them to stay. These little 2.5-inch squares, I'm going to do the same way. And you can write this down if you want. I take a lot of notes when I do stuff. I'm very much a freestylist. Like I said, I don't really do many patterns. I like to play. So we're going to take these little squares and we're going to put these up in the corner. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to open that up. You're going to sew it diagonally from this corner to this corner. And then you're going to cut the back part off, and you're going to flip that forward and press it. I'm just giving you an idea. And the same way with the rest of them, I've folded it, and you're going to put that one in the opposite corner. And you can see when you open that up, you're going to sew it from here to here, and you're going to cut off the back, and you're going to flip that forward. And the same way with the rest of them. And this is just a quick overview. If you want to see how I did this actual heart, you can go back to the postcard video. It's the same concept. You're just going to put these in here, and you're going to open them up, and you're going to sew from that corner to that corner. You know, and I've left a little crease line here so you can kind of see. When you sew on that crease line, you're going to cut this back part off and flip it forward. And you can see that the heart is now coming together. And this fabric that I chose for this heart has a little bit of a pink into it, so it's not really a white, or you know, it has a little texture to it. As long as it's whiter or lighter than your fabric for your heart. And then this one will go in the opposite corner, and you'll sew it diagonally. You'll open it up, sew in the crease line, and then cut off the back and flip it forward. So you can kind of see now now that I've got these all stuck up here, that's how you're going to achieve your heart. So after you get those sewed onto each of your 4 squares, you're going to sew your squares together. You'll sew these 2 together and then these 2 together, and you'll have 2 pieces, and then you're going to sew it across the middle, and you'll have your heart square. Really simple, not rocket science. So the next thing you do, if you want to make this for any size pillow, I used some charms around it. So this is 4 charms for the heart, and then I did 2 charms for the side, and then I did 3 charms on the bottom. That would probably make a good 12-inch size pillow, give or take. And you can border this around. On mine, my pillow, how many charms did I use? 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. I used 16 charms on this pillow. This is a really big pillow, and it measured out to about 25 inches square around. So as you can see on the top here, I did put some borders around it, and when I was making this, I kind of messed up. You know the old saying, measure twice, cut once, or measure twice, cuss, and then repeat? Well, that was me. So I wanted to originally put this pink as a wide border around it, but I cut it 2.5 instead of 3.5 like I wanted to. So I ended up adding a white border around this. Now, for the fun part, when you get your blocks all sewed together with your heart and everything, this is where I really got creative. As you can see, I've got this fuzzy stuff all around my blocks, and this stuff is called chenille. And if you haven't ever heard of chenille, you can buy it on Etsy, and this is what it's called, chenille. And this comes in a variety of colors. Hobby Lobby, my local Hobby Lobby last year, had some of this, and they had it on clearance. Well, me being the creator and crafter that I am, I bought a lot of it because it was super, super cheap. So what I have, and you can get these in a lot of different colors. I think I have it in blue, yellow, green, black, beige, but I took a dark pink, a light pink, and then I have a white, and this white is in a 1/4 inch. And what this is like a blooming bias. So it's really gauzy like, but I layered in all of the seams between my blocks, right in the ditch. I put my layers in the middle where I sew my blocks together. So I layered the dark pink, and then on top of it, I layered the lighter pink, and then right in the middle, I layered the white. And then I sewed it right in the middle, right down the seam. And every seam around my pillow, except for my heart. I didn't want to sew it around my heart, but you can see how this looks. And it doesn't look this way when you sew it on. So after you sew it on, it kind of looks weird, and it's, you know, but when you get it all sewed on, that's where the magic takes place. And what I did is I took a regular little scrub brush, and I just, here, where's my pillow? I just scrubbed it vigorously on all of the bias here, because it lays really flat. But when you rub your brush across that bias and you keep rubbing, it makes this fuzzy stuff. That's why they call it chenille. It's blooming bias. So it all frays really nice, and it makes a really nice fuzzy feel, and it gives it a great looking effect. So pillows are really easy. This is a fun way to use up a charm pack, and you know, you don't have to make this red and pink. You can use whatever colors that you have, you know, in florals or little kids fabrics. This is just really fun, and this was Valentine charms that I had bought, and I just wanted to do something really fun and share it with all of you. So this is what I come up with. The back of my pillow, I made a basic envelope style where I took 2 pieces of fabric, I hemmed them on the side, and then I overlapped them or layered them. So you can see I have a shorter piece inside. So you want one piece smaller and the other piece a little bit wider. And they're 25 inches to fit my pillow. So when I put the back on, I put the 2 pieces face to face, pretty to pretty, so the hems were inside because you're going to turn it right side out. And all I did is I sewed it all the way around, and then I just turned it right side out, and it fit my great big pillow perfectly. So this was a really nice and fun thing to make for me. I was super excited. I'm happy with the results. So that is the second project that I wanted to show you all. The third project is something that I've done on here before. Some of you that are subscribers to my channel have probably seen the tissue box cover that I have done in the past. I've made several of them. They make great gifts. They are really cool to make a cover for your tissue box, which I have one here. And I'll kind of give you an idea. This is my sewing room box, and it's just some sewing fabric, and I have a measuring ribbon for my tie, because you know you're constantly measuring in your sewing room. Everybody needs tissues, and I have a tissue box in almost every room. And in here, with a lot of the fabric dust, I sneeze a lot, so having a tissue box in here and having it pretty to match my sewing room is a great thing. Well, I got the idea that I wanted to do one for Valentine's Day, but I'm going to revise my tissue box cover, because the last one that I showed on a video, which was quite a while ago, you boxed the outside and you boxed the inside lining. Well, I'm gonna shortcut it a little bit, because one of my friends from a stitch group showed me a way to shortcut it, and I loved it, and now I'm doing all of them that way. So I figured I probably should show you. This one here, as you can see, that the bottom was different. I didn't have enough fabric, so I put a little piece on the bottom. I figured you're not gonna see it when I made it, so I really wanted this fabric. And how I got so lucky to line it up at the seam where it's perfect, that wasn't intentional. That's just how it turned out for me. Really cool, huh? So anyway, I am going to show you what I've got for a box. So I've got this piece here on my wall, and this is going to be the main outside of my box. Oops, losing my squares here. We'll just stick that back up there. So what I did is I cut this piece of fabric 13 inches tall. And then I cut it 18 inches long. And of course I had these fun fabrics that I cut out, and I heat and bond them. And you can buy heat and bond at Walmart or Joann craft stores. I use Heat and Bond Light. It is an adhesive that you iron on the back of your fabrics, which I have some here already done. I cut out these little fabrics off from a piece of fabric that I had. I bought this at the fabric candy shop, and these was some Valentine fabric that I got. So I just cut out all of the little design squares on it, and I save them for projects that I'd like to stick them and maybe applique them to. I mean, but you can see the heat and bond is on the back. The paper is still on it, but when you peel it off, it's going to leave like this shiny side. And kind of show you, you peel it off and it makes it really shiny. So when you adhere this to your fabrics with your hot iron, it melts right into your fabric, and then it kind of holds it in place. But I like to stitch it down so it's not going to go anywhere. So what I've done with this is I've already done the stitching down on them. I got the little candy hearts here, and I stitched them down. And then the blocks that I put on here, I did a blanket stitch on to kind of keep them in place and give them a decorative look. The liner to this, I made my liner shorter than my outside fabric. This is my inside. So we're not going to box the inside. I don't know if I can stick this up here so you can kind of see it. Let me just give it some help. I took these candy hearts and I appliqued them all along the top. So in the top of my tissue box, like you see on my opening here, you're going to see all those little hearts, because I like to open this up and make it bloom up like a little flower. And I like my lining to be a little bit contrasting, and I'm just trying to keep it interesting because this one's pretty simple. And a piece of ribbon. I have a piece of ribbon here. It's white and it just has some little black hearts on it. I just thought that would fit my tissue box, because you do need a piece of ribbon to sew into the seam to so you can tie your box around. So the lining, I think I took a note on this. My lining is 18 inches long, and I made it 9 inches high. So it's not going to go to all the way to the bottom of my box bag that my tissue box sits down into. So what I'm going to do, let me show you how I'm going to sew this. In case you haven't seen the video on how to do a tissue box cover, I will sew this together off camera, but I am going to show you how I put it together. So let me just move you down here, and you can kind of see, hopefully, that I've got my outside, and I've got it facing toward me and facing up. My liner is facing up, but I'm going to turn it and put it face to face, just like this. And then I'm going to sew it all the way across to attach it. And down here I have a box, and I will get to that later, because when we box this, I will fold it in half and I will cut out that little square. And this seam right here is going to be the back part of my box. So I'm going to put this together for you, and I will show you how this is going to look. I'm not going to sew the side yet. I will sew this across the top, And then I'm gonna want to fold this. And when I put my ribbon in, which my ribbon is right here, and since this ribbon is two-sided, when I get ready to put this in the seam, I want to fold it in half. And I want the pretty side to face the pretty side. And that fold, I am going to put into my seam. And when I get ready to sew this side down, yeah, I'm going to want to turn it right side out. We're not going to get to that part yet. But anyway, this is going to get sewed into the seam, and it's going to be sewed 3 inches down, but we're not going to put that in yet. Right now, I am going to, sew the liner to the front, and then I will take you to the next step, okay? Okay, I've got my piece sewn together. As you can see, this is attached. And when I open this up, my little hearts are going to be facing opposite way than my appliques. That is normal. My ribbon, I folded it in half. The right sides are together. I took some tape and I taped this down because I want them to stay in place. And I got a little ruler here, and I measured 3 inches from the seam down, and then I positioned my ribbon so that the fold is going to be into the liner, or the seam, I should say. This part is your liner. This part is the outside of your cover. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fold this in half. I'm going to make sure that my seams line up, which I want to make sure they're put together, and put a little pin in it just to make sure, because when you sew, everything shifts. And I think I will just put a couple more pins along the side, and we're going to sew the whole length of this piece. It's not a bag yet, but it will be. So I'm going to sew this from the top of the liner all the way down to the bottom of the outside. So the whole seam after I folded it in half, which I can kind of show you here. So, all right. Okay, I have the seam sewed from the very one end of my tissue box bag to this end. So I sewed a nice straight seam, and I sewed my ribbon in the seam here too. And when I got to the ribbon, I kind of back stitched over it because I want to make sure that that's really secure in there. So the next part to this is boxing. And what I want to do is box the pink part of the tissue box cover. So I have a little square here, and I am going to cut it out at the 2 inches. And I'm going to need something to mark this with. So let me grab a pen. I'm very well prepared. So I've got a little marker here, and I'm just going to kind of draw out a 2 inch square. Let me put a weight on that. Sometimes it's nice to have a little something extra to hold things in position so I can be accurate. So there's one. I'll be able to see my lines, because I'm going to cut that out. And I'm going to come over here to this corner, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to draw out a 2 inch square. And this is where we're going to get the flat bottom to our tissue box. So now, let's grab a pair of scissors. And I'm going to cut out on my lines. And hopefully, yeah, you can see what I'm doing. So I've got this little square here. We're in the home stretch of getting this box done. These are really quick and easy. I like to mix and match fabrics, and I love to take other fabrics and kind of applique them on. Applique isn't hard, very fun to do. Play with it. This will be a great play project to practice with. So there, I've got 2 squares cut out. I'm just going to throw them to the side. And now you can kind of see we have this little shape here in the bottom. So what I need to do now is I'm going to stitch this across the bottom here on this long piece here. So I'm going to stitch that, and then we will get to the boxing of the seams here, and then I'll turn this right side out and I'm going to slide it on a tissue box. Okay, I have stitched across the bottom here. I've got a couple little thread tails here. We'll just trim them off. And now I'm going to take my square here and I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to line up my bottom seam to the side seam here, and I'm going to match up the seams, and I'm going to kind of nest them together so that one seam is going one way and the other seam is going to go the other way, and they're going to kind of nest together, and I want them lined up good. So I'm going to lay that out flat like that, and what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we got this all nice and flat, and I'm going to put a pin in there to hold that because I don't want that to move on me when I sew. I want them seams to nest together, and I got a pin here handy. So, and I'm going to do this with the other side as well. And I'm going to sew this across, and I'm going to back stitch on each end to secure that. Now this other side doesn't have a seam, but you want to try to get it in the middle, and it lays nice and flat, and that both sides line up. I'll just turn it this way. So I want to get that to be, sometimes you just have to finagle the fabric so everything lines up. Get it in the middle. This is, ouch, I don't want to poke myself. But I want to try to get these seams lined up, and then I'm going to put a pin right in the middle just to kind of hold it. Since there is no seam to match up there, it's a little tricky. So now, and you don't want any wrinkles underneath either. I want to make sure that that feels nice and flat, and I'm going to sew it all the way across on both of these to seal this up. So when I sew these across, I'm going to turn this right side out, and we're going to put the tissue box in there, and we're going to see how it fits. Okay, I've got the box squares here all sewed. You can see now we have a shape to the bottom. So now what we're going to do is we're going to, let me get this adjusted, and we're going to turn this right side out. So, oops, I got tape inside too. I'm going to try to show you what I'm doing here. If I can get this up, I'm going to reach in here in my bag. I'm going to turn it right side out. And I had tape on my ribbon to kind of hold it in place. I'm just going to get that off there. I taped that ribbon into place because I don't want it to move around when I'm sewing the bag together to get it caught in the seams. So now I'm going to kind of push out the corners of the bag, and you can kind of see this is what you're going to have. Hoping I did this right. Yes, I did. I did. So now you got this loose lining piece, and we don't have to box this. What we're going to do is we're just going to tuck this right down inside of the bag. Let me move your bag down so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. I'm going to push this down in and line that up. So I'm going to kind of check the seams. I want the red to meet the pink plaid seams, and I'll probably just press that a little bit. But what I want to do is get everything lined up, and everything should come together according as I planned. This back seam is going to be the back part of my tissue box. This front piece will be the front of the box. I don't know what I would do without you is going to be on the side, and then this You Make My Heart Melt is going to be on the other side. So you'll be able to see on all four sides. And then after I get my tissue box in there and I fluff open the top, you should be able to see the little candy hearts on the inside. So now that I've got my liner all pushed down inside, I have a nice plain old tissue box here, you know, just some Scotty's standard size tissue box, and this should fit. Don't get the jumbo size because I've had those before and then I wondered why they didn't fit. So this is just your ordinary standard tissue box, and I'm going to try to, with my best, to get this to slide in here, and this might just take me a minute because I want everything to, let's see. I want the seam in the middle of one side because it will be the back side of the box. And this should fit nice and snug, which I'm getting it. Which makes it fit the box really nice when it's nice and snug. Yeah, it takes some finagling. And maybe some positioning, because my thing isn't exactly in the middle, but it fits very snug. So let me just see if I can get this down in here. You get the idea of it anyway, without taking too long. This one fits very nice down in there. And if I turn this a little bit, which maybe not by much, you can see my positioning of my appliques didn't quite make it in the middle, but I'm not going to sweat it too much. I probably could twist this around a little bit after I play with it, but I just want to give you the idea of how this is going to look. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to tie this around, and I'm going to have Glenda kind of help me tie this up for you so you can kind of see how this is going to look. So when you tie the bow, you're going to see that the bow is around the front, and what I like to do is take the top and kind of play it out and open it up like a little flower. And as you can see, all the little candy hearts are going to show around the inside on the top, and it just makes it very decorative. A fun thing for Valentine's to put on your desk, in your sewing room, in your living room, in your bedroom, wherever you have a tissue box. It's always nice to have a decorative little tissue box to put around your house. I have tissue boxes similar to this in a lot of the rooms of my house. In my downstairs bathroom, I have a goat picture that I had bought to put on the bathroom wall, and I did a goat tissue box similar to this. Glenda's going to run to grab it so I can show it to you real quick. These are just fun to do. This one I was playing with. Like I said, my ribbon could be tied a little bit tighter. I'm just wanting to not take up too much of your time, but you could position these a little bit better, which I probably could switch this around and position them a little bit more so they line up. Yeah. Here's the cute little goat box that I made. This is adorable. These are really fun to make, and they're a little bit more revised than the last video I'd done, and I can't remember, I think it was like over a year ago, I did a tissue box cover tutorial. And I like this tutorial a lot better because you're not boxing the inside liner, because the inside liner, when you get the tissue box down in there, you don't even see it. So we just like to just drop it in. But this just turned out adorable with the little goats on it, and I just added a little extra fabric on the bottom. Still made it 13 inches high, but 18 inches wide, and then just sewed it up like I showed you, sew your ribbon in the seam. They just make really fun things for your house, and they also make great gifts. So I hope you all enjoyed this little video that I put together for some Valentine makes. Please like my videos if you enjoyed. Hit that little thumbs up button. Please subscribe if you're new. I have plenty of things to share. I've always been told I've got too much going on in this head. It's just trying to get it out. But I'm trying to do improvements on showing you things and how I do it. And I really hope you all enjoyed. Check back. I'm sure I'll have more to come here very, very soon. So enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for watching. I'll chat at you later. Bye.